Great. So I'm Mark Coles from Gaer Primary School, and my project this year was the electronic ebook project. And just to give you a brief outline of the project, the aim of the project was to develop an ebook to record, assess and manage learning. So removing an exercise book and the children doing all their learning through an ebook using the computers. The aim was to utilise existing software available to pupils that they were familiar with and they had confidence using. And another aim was to improve their ICT skills. And we had variants in year 6 of their ICT skills. So the group I chose was a variety of skills across the year group. And the aim was to hopefully improve their ICT skills throughout the year. Hoping to engage learners, and it's amazing when you say you're doing ICT, there's always a little small cheer around the classroom that you're using the computer. So hoping to sort of jump on the back of that and engage learners even more. Also looking to develop assessment opportunities using ICT within the ebook, using the technology to help us in evaluating learning. And also there was an area I wanted to focus on, which was often with exercise books, you take a significant amount home, mark them and bring them back the next day. So really I wanted to have a look at whether an electronic ebook was going to reduce the time it takes to mark pupils' learning and whether that had a positive impact then on teacher well-being. So the trial took place with a third of the class, so 10 pupils using an ebook, whilst the other 20 just continued in our standard system of using exercise books to record their learning. So why ebooks? First thing was really to embrace technological advances that are happening, and we know technology is advancing at such a rate, but if we look beyond education, whatever job they do, they'll be using technology. So it's embracing the moment and going with it. Another big aim was to increase the skill set of the pupils. And we have a lot of pupils who are very good on mobile phones, but actually when it comes to the use of a computer and the use of software, it's really important for us to get these skill sets increased. I was hoping also to align with real life and work environments. So we know that when they leave us, the ability to simple create a table or sort files or insert pictures, these administration skills in many aspects, important for them to be able to be confident in using these as they move forward. Also hoping to increase transparency with parents so that parents were also able to access their ebooks when at home, which was quite a nice link we were trying to create rather than at the end of the year having their physical exercise book taken home. Hopefully they'll be able to see their learning on a daily basis. As I mentioned before, to address the working workload. And the challenges we really faced with this little project was the pupils' skills and upskilling them, a bit like Jade, is really getting them independently working as they come through. Also, their trust in technology, and we often have moments where the file is no longer available or they've lost their work, and it's just for us to develop that confidence in technology and having trust that the work is automatically saved or the process they need to do to save their work. And finally, linking to the previous presentation with regards to developing the independence of learners, especially around this ebook aspect. So in terms of the pedagogy, we were hoping to replicate the familiarity of a physical book in an electronic format. So we just wanted to try and keep the systems the same, and it's just a matter of transferring from one to the other. The aim was also to enhance learning experiences and not hinder. What we didn't want it to become was a chore where everything became very difficult. Things like inserting pictures, whilst previously just stick it into their books. So that was something for us to look at. From the very offset, we thought it was really important to set expectations, what we were expecting the electronic exercise book to look like and how they were meant to present their work. We have the same expectations for the physical aspects of exercise books, so we're hoping to have the same for our electronic ebook as well. Very early on in the sessions, we offered support and gave them one-on-one support to log on, to download the app and support them in their setup. Also, for some complex skills, we developed some videos. So one example would be hyperlinking within the Word document to go from the contents page to their actual work or their book in their page. Also to develop online assessment opportunities and also to include parents in the pupil learning. And finally was to increase the efficiency of recording, so how efficient they are in recording the information in their books. So As you can see, the next title is Attempt 1, and Attempt 1 didn't go very well, so we will come on to Attempt 2 very soon. But Attempt 1, we sort of looked at the software package OneNote, and for me, when I first investigated it, it seemed to have absolutely everything. It was the ability to type, it was the ability to use speech to text for marking, the ability to write notes, insert pictures, annotate, and it seemed the right package at the time. We had a few problems with it in terms of opening in the desktop app for the pupils. For the teachers, it seemed to work fine. For the pupils, it seemed to have a bit of a lag and cause us some problems. The text-to-speech failed quite frequently, and actually was more of a hindrance than a help, and you had to go back quite a lot to do that. Maybe it was my Valley's accent. The output levels of the less able and able was also significantly lower than we'd hoped as well. A few technical problems with connections and the pupils' skills, and that basically resulted in Attempt 1 not being a success at all. So went back to the drawing board, and at the next planning stage, I really thought about the children, putting them at the forefront of our next step. So we moved on to Attempt 2, and Attempt 2, like I said, at the forefront of our thinking was, how are we going to record this information so it's replicated? It's very similar to the physical exercise book. And decided upon using Microsoft Word and just giving them one single file. And previously we dipped in and out, but we went for it full on, and we had a project called War and Peace in the summer term, and all their learning, all their work linked to War and Peace was going to go into this electronic exercise book. At the front, we had an administration page which set our standards in terms of marking policies, how they insert pictures, help videos. Also had a contents page, and from there they were able to write the lesson name and then hyperlink within the document to their work, and that allowed me, when I was marking, quick access to the files rather than scrolling down. And some of the children are on 45 pages, so it's quite nice links to come back and forth to see the learning. Security was an interesting one because we placed their files into one directory, but then with some manage access points in OneDrive, we were able to allow the children to access their own work and no one else's. And that was important to ensure that when they look at their work at home, they can't view anybody else's learning. It was just theirs they were looking at. And obviously the parents could also just view their own child's and no one else's as well. And we were able to give each child a laptop, a dedicated laptop. So they logged into Office 365, and then they used the desktop app, which was more consistent, more reliable, and the features and functions available on this Word desktop app were significantly greater than if you're just using the online version. And basically we went all in. Everything, absolutely everything came through this artwork. We scanned in and they put the pictures in. It was absolutely everything. No lesson in exercise books, just fully into this Microsoft Word document. In terms of skills that they were used and learnt as they went along through this journey, they were able to create hyperlinks within Microsoft Word, creating page breaks for a new page, use of the tab key, which I often find previously where children are pressing the space bar continuously to get to a certain point, changing the font size, color, and formatting the text, the alignment of text, left, center, and right aligned. They got some experience of inserting tables and centering information within those tables, as well as inserting pictures into tables. Inserting graphics became a common feature, as well as taking screen grabs, which they then inserted into the exercise books. Highlighting information, using the comments functions within Word to identify targets they've met in their writing. There was also some AI picture generating, which we've talked about in previous meetings, and they were using that to place into their learning. The layout in terms of portrait, landscape, screen grabs, the snipping tool, managing files within OneDrive. So a real range of skills just from using this electronic exercise book on a daily basis. So the impact on learners was very positive on this second attempt. A significant amount of improved digital skills, engagement levels from some of our less able children was also very pleasing. We also had increased independence, and at the start, you think, well, why have I done this? It's very, very support heavy, but it's amazing as the weeks pass, time and time, the independence improved significantly, and it was just lovely to see. Assessment opportunities were improved as well, and it allowed us to use a range of technological assessment opportunities to assess their learning. Problem-solving skills, so if something did go wrong with their computer, they become more resilient. They were able to help each other to identify what's gone wrong, copying files, and that was lovely to see that collaboration coming on, which brings me on to this one. Improved appreciation of physical writing, and this was an interesting one because when they were writing on the computer, they loved it, absolutely loved it, and they didn't really enjoy the physical aspect when we were writing a significant amount. So when they did go back to physical writing, it was quite nice to go back for a short while, but they do prefer the longer pieces of writing coming in on the computer. And finally, there was a real impact on links to home and communication with parents at home as well. There was a feedback from learners, just some quotes from our learners. 4 new skills I've learned are snipping tool, text wrap, inserting tables and hyperlinks. I've learned many new skills and I can apply them into my work in the future. I think that my engagement in this learning has improved rapidly. When you're writing on paper, you get bored as you feel tired from writing too much. So sometimes you stop for a little bit. On computers, it feels that the time is reduced and you don't really get bored as your hands don't ache from writing. I didn't like working on laptops because it was a bit hard. However, I know it will help improve my ICT skills in the future. And this is quite a nice one in terms of they can see the importance moving forward that ICT will be with them when they go into work in the future. There's a lot of problem solving because if something goes wrong, you know how to fix it. The hardest part of using the laptops was creating a timeline because you had to add different shapes and pictures, then move them into the correct place. And then finally, at the start of the trial, I needed a lot of help from Mr. Coles. At the end, I was really independent and didn't need as much help. So some nice feedback from our learners. In terms of data, at the start of the trial, 5.2 out of 10, they rated their skill set in ICT, and you can see that's improved to 7.5 at the end of the trial. In terms of how much they enjoyed taking part in this electronic exercise book trial, an average rating of 4.25 out of 5, which was pleasing to see. And then the big question I asked was, would you like to continue using the electronic exercise book to the end of the school year? And 6 were yes and 2 no's. And then really looking forward how we can manage this. The final question I gave them was if they could do all their work on the computers, all their work in physical exercise books or half and half, hybrid model, what would they prefer? And you can see a mixed bag here, but the majority of them were keen to sort of have a hybrid approach for certain activities. And I'd imagine for the longer pieces of writing, the computer would benefit them there. In terms of surprises, there was a request towards the end for some of them to go back writing in books, and that was more from the girls who took part in the trial, and that was more linked to the creative aspect of creating a timeline, sort of artwork side of things. So that was some sort of surprises towards the end. There was an elevated status in the classroom that they were using computers all the time. They sort of become these heroes, the ones who were like, you know, the chosen ones to use this computer. And there was a lot of, I suppose, jealousy from others, which was a positive in many ways that they were all keen to get involved. There was a reduction in marking time, not as significant, but noticeable. And that was a positive once the system of Microsoft Word had got in place. It was a nice reduction time there. The positivity of the children was fantastic. From the get-go, they were all keen, they all engaged. And one boy in particular just excelled, you know, and I was actually quite disappointed when he had to return to doing some physical writing last week. And finally, the way they adapted to the new way of learning, and we don't give the children enough credit, but actually they're so adaptive throughout their time, and whatever you throw at them, they were constantly reflecting, trying to improve and help one another. So next time, if we're to do this project next year in year 6, definitely try and increase parental engagement, maybe promote it a little bit more, maybe a parents' comment section within their file would be quite nice to get some feedback from the parents. Definitely would roll out to the whole class. One problem I did face was that this hybrid model of 10 of them doing it on the computer and then the other 20 doing it. You're constantly juggling resources in terms of getting electronic resources ready, then getting physical resources ready. So maybe a whole rollout next year would be something to consider. Further use of assessment strategies to put in place. And also, I think there'd be a mind shift if we were to do this next year, where at the forefront of our planning, ICT would be there, and the activities we produce would have a significant more ICT twist to them in terms of the learning that we undertake. Just some pictures from our trial. They were each allocated a laptop with a unique number, so that was bespoke to them. Here we had the help video, which they were able to use to help them create page breaks and links within their document. There's a screen grab of the video. Here's all the lessons that we did, and within those is the electronic resources they could access. So they'd go in, they'd access it, copy and paste it into their own file. Here's an example of a zoomed out exercise book, and you can see in the top left is the front cover, then administration, then links, and you can see all the individual learning that's gone on there, and a range of scanned in photographs. You've got tables, you've got shapes inserted, you've got font color changes, comments as well. Here's the administration page, which was looking at what we expect from them and what we will give as well. There's the contents page, which they created, and then from there you could link to a place within the document. Here's a photo montage created for World War II. There's a table they created on propaganda posters, some artwork that's been scanned in, pixelation art. Here's the project launch day, so they put a picture in and inserted some hats. AI generated images there. Again, another table, but important to note on the right is the target. So that's a comment section where she's able to show she's met a target, which was a capital letter for place names. And you can see my marking in red is evidence there as well. Even though in real life, in exercise books, we have smelly stickers, that was not possible on the computers, but I did manage to grab a smelly sticker and place in for them to show how impressed I was with their work. Here we got some sort of codes and keys looking at highlighting, some more feedback and next steps for using the tab key. And that's it. That was the ebook project, a really enjoyable project, and one we'll definitely go again next year. And it's just nice to give the children the opportunity to use their ebook and see the success it brought. So thank you.